Hello, hello. Time for another unscripted video. I just got back from church. Today there was a female priestess, I know, right? And she was talking something, preaching about Trump and his fake news or alternative facts. Very bizarre feeling. In the end, her point was that we should never trust science and put faith in God because science is there to lie to us. And when he, came around, I thought that was a very fair point. Then she said something about about these false prophets that you should be afraid of, and you should judge them by their fruits. Meaning, if you look at a false prophet, you will see that he, her, it, their following will produce bad results. Bad things will come from them who preach bad things. And I looked around me, and it's a very empty church. Church attendance is very low in my country. And I thought, female priests looking around me, here's the fruit. Lowest church attendance ever. Now, I'm not saying that women can't be priests, don't get me wrong. I just think they shouldn't. For the same reason, I don't want a child to be my pilot on an intercontinental flight. I'm sure that, that if none of the men are stepping up to do their thing in the church, coming up and saying, hey, let's get this show on the roll, it's time to save the church, I want to be a priest. I don't think a lot of men are doing that, and don't think that the problem lies in the church openly discriminating against men, saying, no, you can't be a priest, you have a penis. I don't think that's really where the problem lies. I think it's just that women are picking up the slack because men in our country are not doing their job. So I'm not particularly furious or outraged about this. It's just the lack of faith in my country overall is not any one gender's fault. Either way, yesterday's video, to recap, what did we learn? Magic soil. Magic soil is essentially the theory that says that the theory to explain groups of people's behavior and cultures formula is genetics plus unknown factor X equals behavior, like Americans. For example, you can't just put genetics into people and get Americans. You can't put European genetics in there. There's something else. There's an extra added bit that's being added to the mix. Clearly, you can't tell me that these things that drink Four Loko and are completely insane, look nothing like me, talk nothing like me. You can't tell me that that thing and me are the same. No way. Look at the DNA, we're pretty much similar, 100% European. Alright, then we can make a scientific deduction that there's another factor. This is, what I chalk up to magic soil theory. You live long enough on a land, the spirit of the land will change you. And this goes into my theory of evolution. There's a story of magic soil where a liberal princess who rules over her socialist country one day decided to find out why there was so much crime in her immigrant ghetto. So she climbed the tallest ivory tower in the land, and on top of the ivory tower sat the most enlightened humanist scholar who had over 5 PhDs in humanist sciences. And she asked him, why is this particular area, who just by happenstance happened to be populated by immigrants, be so plagued by crime and gang violence? And he said, You see, they were placed there in a bad environment. The people in the environment, were bad when they came there, and they couldn't help but respond to their environment, like chemicals respond to an environment. I see, said the princess, but who made those people bad? It was the people there before them who made the environment bad, who made those people bad. I see, she said. Well, who made the first people who came there? Oh, well, it's the soil. The soil, she said. Yes, the soil made the first people come. It's a bad part of town. And it's all turtles all the way down there. And this is basis of liberal magic soil theory. This is why it's very appealing to me. I like this sort of logic. It's very. This is why I call myself a liberal, because this is this is funny. This is mythical. This is more accepting. Why is Middle East and Africa shitholes? Like they are magic soil. It's don't think about it. It's the land. This is what they teach children in schools everywhere. Africa is shit because it's Africa. Middle East is full of war because it's Middle East. It's probably the sand that has a spirit in it that forces people to wage war in Middle East, just as it is the pyramids in Bosnia that makes that exudes the energy that makes Bosniaks and all other Balkanites so war hungry. Either way, we got magic soil brings us into evolution. What is evolution? There's two things. People get these two confused. See, there's macroevolution and microevolution. Now, microevolution is the type that you can see in selective breeding. Very easy to understand. You take a wolf and then you selectively breed it for many generations. You select for the traits you want, and boom, after a while you got a dog. And you can turn wolf into Chihuahua. This is microevolution. It is using the genetic material that is already inside the wolf and selectively breed to one extreme or the other, right? Simple to understand. Macroevolution, however, this is where magic comes in. Macroevolution is how to turn a fish into a wolf, how to turn monkey into human. This is macroevolution. This has never been demonstrated. This is pure hypothesis. What hypothesis is a scientific term for fan fiction. And this fan fiction states that fish grow legs and walk on earth and become toad, become rat, become monkey, and that is then your grandfather who gave birth to your father and you. This is, preposterous, of course, but it is not unlike many other fan fictions of crazy literature I have read. Now, for some reason, because of theology that rules our land, we are expected to entertain this social story seriously. We are supposed to think, if you mock this, you are somehow weird, you are different. But if I mock, say, Harry Potter or Star Wars universe, that is socially acceptable. That is what I call double standard. See, there is absolutely no reason to believe in macroevolution. Atheists have the defense argument, well, how can you prove macroevolution? Because it takes millions of years for a random mutation to occur and then evolve into this and that, and then suddenly you have complex I who functions. This is just a so-so story. You can't prove it and you can't disprove it, and it's all just on the fanfic stage, but we are just told this, and then suddenly, because this theory is born, then a multitude of crazy stories dinosaurs were real, and it's like, oh, look at these crazy birds, they were 15 meters tall, and then they changed it, no, they were 100 meters tall, and then it's like the T-Rex had hair, and you know, these penguins, you know, were huge and had giraffe necks, and like, fuck you, you'll believe anything we tell you. This is, you know, every other month there's a new article coming out that I see on my Twitter timeline about some bullshit they're supposed to, you know, that we're now supposed to believe in. We were expected to believe now in this and that and this and that. They, what is it? Last one was dug up an ugly monkey and said, made 3D model of what it looked like and said, this is early human. Are you kidding me? It's a monkey! You found a crazy monkey in the jungle. Now you're trying to say that this is my great ancestors. Fuck you. This is funny if it wasn't so absurd. You know, I joke about it most of the time, but for sometimes you also have to be serious about these things, because you cannot live a joke your entire life. We have to be serious in the end, and you know, it is funny, haha, monkey this, monkey that, but in the end, you know, it doesn't make any sense to me. None of the stories make any sense. We have all these crazy walruses and giga sharks, and you know, it's all just Pokemon, Digimon, fanfic universe. I already watched my fair share of Pokemon and Digimon in my childhood, and I don't need any more of it in my adult life. The fucking evolutionists don't even have a catchy theme song for their fanfiction, so I don't care. The best thing about Pokemon and Digimon were the intro musics. I'm sorry, that's I feel no shame saying I still listen to those, you know, nostalgia trips. Evolution with their fucking Velociraptor documentaries have never come with hard-hitting anime intros. So it's honestly one of the stronger arguments why not to take these people seriously, because they don't respect their source material enough to give it the music it deserves. I am going to show my children, if I have any, I'm going to show my children, you know, about the dinosaurs for the same reason I'm going to show them Harry Potter. Probably not that, but Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and stuff like this. But I would never engage in such child abuse as to say that Darth Vader is real and he will come and kill you if you don't join the dark side. It's like your grandfather was a monkey. I'm sorry, but I have zero Monkeydonian ancestry. It's all just so stories. You ask these people to clarify what the hell is going on. You know, what are you asking those questions? What do you care what happened 60 million years ago? I don't need to explain to you what happened 6 billion years ago. Nobody knows what happened 60 billion years ago. Story keeps changing, dates keep getting shuffled around, nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Yeah, it's all a mess. It's a mess. So imagine that what a great coincidence it was that we just started digging up all these fossils and dinosaur bones just so when it happened that atheism started to gain ground in Europe. What an amazing coincidence. Just so happened they've been laying there for all those years and we didn't start finding them until people started becoming atheists. Suddenly atheists were picking up dinosaur bones in every backyard. Oh, imagine that. Imagine if you're an 1800 something loser who has an axe to grind against the church, and this Darwin fella has come up with some crazy ideas, and you think, well, I can go a bit further with this, and then you dig up some badger bones in the backyard and you glue them together. This is real, by the way. This happened. You know, there's something called like the Bone Wars, when all these nerds were arguing over whose bones are canon in the fanfic and which one is bogus. And maybe the reason they have that sign, do not touch, on dinosaur bones in all those museums is because if you touch them, you can feel that they're papier mache. They're all plastic. It's all fake. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. It's the same thing that we invented gender studies as a bullshit degree, so we can have more bullshit jobs, because productivity is getting so high that we need to invent jobs and invent pointless positions and degrees and fields of science in order to occupy people with busy work. Same work in the 1800s, where we just invented archaeology, so, you know, a fake science. You know, it's just so that a bunch of people could feel like they're contributing to society. Hint, they're not. It's all bogus. It's just the gender studies of the 20th century. Imagine that. Imagine being like a Roman consul or something, and you're in charge of Hispania. All the silver mines there. They're digging. They're digging day in, day out, digging those mines, and then one day they say, "Sir, we found these huge ass bones, these enormous bones. Come check it out." And then they've assembled it, and it makes up one of those big, long neck dinosaurs. You know the one, huge one. It's probably like 500 meters tall, and it's like, whoa, what do we do with it? Destroy it. We can't let anybody know about this. And then he like swats the quill out of the hand of the scribe and points at him. "Don't document this. Don't tell anyone about this. Destroy all the evidence. We can't let anyone know that we found this." Imagine that back in the day when people used to hire professional painters just to paint fruit bowls and big cows, just to flex on what gifts of nature they possessed, you know, what they had. Don't you think that these Romans would be flexing on literally every other kingdom if they could find like a T-Rex skull? It'd be awesome. They'd be like, "Oh, wow, dragon skull." Nah, man, it's weird. It's weird. Real coincidental that happened just when you know, people started to organize against the church. But oh well, I guess those coincidences just happen. If I loop around back to that female priest talked about science, theology, it's true. You know, what she said is that science is only there to lie to you. It's like, today science says fat bad, carbs good. Next day it says carbs good, fat bad. One day it says black man bad. Next day it says white man bad. You know, it always goes back and forth and back and forth. And the only one who's an idiot is you, who's listening to the scientists. If you let a scientist dictate your belief system, then you're the idiot. Because that means that if you let them in, that means that they can change and control and switch around what you think all the time. Don't you feel dumb all the time? These scientists, they go around and they change this and they change that. You know, one day they say the Jews are bad, we gotta gas them. Alright, then next day you find, oh shucks man, we're wrong. It's the white people that are bad. Alright, and then how do you know they're not wrong this time? Oh, the T-Rex had tiny hands. And then after the next Bilderberg meeting, you know, the Fitzgerald and Rockefeller had too many drinks and they had a laugh and they decide, oh, we're gonna tell them that the T-Rex had long hair. Ah, Fitz, they're never gonna buy that. That's crazy, says Rockefeller. And it's like, no, watch this. And then he clicks a few buttons and the next day it shows up on everyone's timelines. Yahoo News, T-Rex had big afros. I shit you not, I've seen this article. You can probably find it if you Google it. And it's like, you're the dumbass. You're the dumbass if you actually take these people seriously. Because science is a tools. It is intellectual tools how to come to truth. But people, they use it as a theology. And when you use it as a theology, as a belief system, you become a monkey. Okay? That is the only way evolution is true is that it's managed to turn its adherents to monkeys. Okay? And I ask you all to not be a monkey. Thank you.